Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Benny with Law Entertainment. I'm working on a tune at the moment for a good friend of mine, Mr. Bruce Gillespie. Bruce is a great singer-songwriter based here in Nashville. Good friend of mine sent me this track to mix. It's a powerful rocking kind of tune, real kind of gritty recording, gritty message. It's a fun track, and I thought it'd be a good example to show you what I might do when I've got tracks, in this case drum tracks that haven't been recorded in your fancy multi-billion-dollar recording studios through SSL or Neves or APIs or anything like that. The drummer's great, played great parts, he hits well, the groove's awesome, but it's a home recording setup and he was limited on what he had, mic-wise and kit-wise. So I thought it was a good example on how to turn something that needs a little bit of extra help to get it to really slap hard, and what I might do. So here we go. Let's have a listen to the raw drums. All I've got up right now is just basically what I got. I got a kick, I got a snare top, and overheads. This is what they sound like. So that's it. That's what I am working with. Depending on the tune, depending on how it's been recorded, often what I'd like to do, if it's been recorded in a really, really nice room where the sound of the drums would go for that organic, really nice drum sound, I'm still probably going to sample stuff, but I'm going to pick samples. I'm going to capture samples in the session, or I'm going to pick samples that really match just to accentuate the drum mix. In this case, we're just going to replace most of the hits. So I've kind of done that already, but basically my thought process with this is the guitars really drive this song. So I wanted to pick some samples that hit really well with the guitars in this tune. So let me put the guitars in. A really rocking guitar tone, so I wanted the drums to kind of match that energy, so that's kind of what I was going for. So as I was picking samples, I was actually playing the guitars through, and I was sampling samples in and out until I found stuff that really hit. So let's go to that. I'm going to actually pull this original snare down and bring in the sampled hits so we can hear all that together. Already that's starting to feel like it's hitting pretty well. I do have the original, I did keep the original kick. So let's hear that. Let's just go through these one by one. And then I added one sample. It's very nice. And then another one. Just for a bit of extra knock. So that those three together, just like that, hits pretty hard. Snare. That's a cool sample. I like it. Gonna bring in the overheads. So already that feels like it's hitting a lot harder. Another thing about this tune is the second verse in particular. The toms are pretty integral part of the composition. So I combined the original toms, they sound like this. And I combine them with samples. Now they sound like this. Cool. One other thing I did, since I did not have a room mic, is I made a copy of these overheads, and I'm just going to treat them in a different way. I'm going to kind of smash them, grunge them up a bit, just so it's got a different, I don't need that, just so we've got a different texture with overheads. So let me go through here one by one. Let's listen to the kick, that original kick. Even with all this top end added, it just isn't there. It isn't in the mic. So I've gated it. I'm going to keep it, but I'm going to blend it with these two. Here's my processing over here. I'm going to turn all that stuff on. Even with these samples, you can see I've added a ton of top end. Let me start from right here. It's kick. I've got an SPL, transient design, just for a little extra smack on the kick. And a little EQ after the fact. I think I've probably taken out a bunch. Carved out a little notch here for the bass. That is my kick drum. Sounds like it is rocking. Let's put the snare on. Same thing, SSL. Adding a little bit of top end, a little bit of 3K. And my favorite trick, virtual mix rack. Come on now. Is this one right here, Earth, putting a bunch of low end in it. That really brings it to life. Same thing here. I like these one knob, two knob plugins. A little bit of top end, a little bit of low, little top, little low. And the transient designer, once again, a little more smack. I just really wanted this to hit hard. So it's just, those things are helping with the perception of the drummer just absolutely whacking these drums. So let's bring in the overheads. No bust over here. Little top, little 4 to 5K, and a little notch in the mid-range, which is interesting. Normally it'd be opposite. I think it's funny when I go back and see what I've done, I've got no idea half the time, but I think I'm trying to bring out the hi-hat a little bit there. Stacking EQs. This is just taking a little bit of that mid-range out. Needed an extra band. And a dynamic EQ. So you can see I got EQ on EQ going on here. That is just taming a lot of the frequencies. It's a new SSL plugin. I really like that. It is a vibe. My thought process here is I'm taming a lot of that stuff. I'm really kind of flattening it out, and it's just making a ton of room for the bass guitar and the electric guitars, which are really driving the song. There's also some string sections, so we needed a lot of room. This is another guy I like to use all over the place. This foundation knob just changes the overall EQ curve. Again, I'm just trying to make something out of not much here. A little stereo enhance. Fun plugin, and something I often go to here if I have a harsh cymbals is refinement. If I take that off, it just really knocks out some of those harsh cymbals. It does it in a really nice way that doesn't feel like I'm chopping a bunch of EQ out either. It just always seems to find the right frequencies. I don't know how, but it's cool. Let's put all that together. take everything off the overheads. That's pretty nice. Okay. Next trick is some parallel drum compression. I'm sending from the kick, the snare, the toms, and the overheads into this channel here. I've got a little EQ going on, just taking out a few notches into the X stressor. We all know it's a distressor. Hear it by itself. Really adding a ton of vibe mainly to the snare. Put those two together. Anytime that I feel like the drums need to hit harder, instead of just turning the drums up, I can actually just add a little bit more, a little less of this, and it really feels like he's digging in. Very cool. And once again with this, I still didn't feel like it was hitting hard enough, so I actually put in a second parallel bus for the drums. Sending from the main bus. This one's really nasty. So just adding a little bit just for grit. You can hear when you add that stuff in just how much it adds. It's subtle, but it's a lot at the same time. So I made this faux room mic. Again, that's just a copy of the overheads. I didn't actually have a room mic. So I put on the tape simulator from Kive. Just kind of rounds it out nicely. Adds a little bump in the low end. Same thing, dynamic EQ. I think when I was working on this plugin came out, so I was probably just like, oh, I've got to try play with my new toy. Some EQ there. I really just wanted, the snare and the kick here. Same thing. The distressor again, X stressor, I should say. We all know. Just squishing. And a little bit of reverb. Straight on the channel, because why not? So now I've got that up the middle, which is kind of trashy, kind of sounds like a room mic. I can blend that with the overheads. Just gives a little bit of mid-range snarl, which is good. One other interesting thing that I did, just for a little bit of extra oomph on that snare, I'm going to turn on my verbs over here. Everything's going to this one here, which is a gated reverb. I've actually got the reverb on and I'm triggering a gate here. Just an old school gated verb. Nice. Toms, not much exciting. Little bump out of the mids, some smack around 4K, some 8K. What I did do, same thing, I put a little bit of this extra gated verb on the original tom channels and kept the samples dry. It's nice having a little bit of combination of both. I'll play that section so you can hear it. Sorry, I forgot to put on the actual sauce on the drum channel. Sorry, the tom channel. Again, nothing too crazy out here. It's a lot of my EQ moves are pretty standard. Not afraid to add a bunch of low, a bunch of high if it needs it. That feels good. It's starting to really sound like a rocking kit. The last thing I did on the actual drum bus itself, the old black box, this is just saturation. Just adding a little mid-range bump. Townhouse bus compressor. Very lightly hitting that. Here we have an old Pultec. Sending a little top end, and even once again on the actual kit itself, I'm still adding a little bit more attack with these transient designers. There we go. I think that is just phase switch. It is. That'll make the tom sound better. Cool. And that's it. It's starting to sound like a kit, right? Let me put it with these electric guitars now just so we can get a bit of a vibe. Let's see where we have came. Bass. How about that? Kind of sounds like a kit now, right? I think it slaps pretty hard. Again, I just wanted to kind of show you quickly just an example of what I do when I'm faced with a little bit of a challenge for what we've got in the tracking room. I think purists are probably not gonna love it, you know, replacing stuff with samples, but hey, everyone does it. Let's be honest. So again, if you get a great room, great drum sound, I'm going to treat it differently. In this case, I put the guitars in, I put the instruments in, I switch samples, I just switched until I found something that really hit. It felt like it was a band playing together and they were jamming and they're having a good time and it was hitting hard. And then I just went and manipulated it from there. And yeah, that is a final result. I did not know when this song comes out. I think Bruce said October, so I'm not going to play any more of it and spoil the surprise, but it's a great tune. I'll put the link to his stuff below in the description, and be back soon with more mixing tips. Let's have a little listen. Nice. Cheers.